I've got so much to talk to you about tonight, but I'm going to talk about something very, very, very quickly. I did an interview today, which I put up with Eric Thaddeus Walters, that will blow you away. The first interview I put up, this may sound stupid. Maybe I'm being punctilious. Maybe I'm being supercilious. May I be? But there was about a second or so of the edited part, which was put in, which you shouldn't be. It sounds crazy to you, but it's got to be perfect. So it was up. I'm redoing it now, and sometimes YouTube is like so slow. That is coming up. The question is Pope, or was Pope Francis even the Pope? Was he ever really the Pope? You're not going to believe what you're hearing. This is the best one ever. It was up. Everything was terrific. But the question was Pope Francis ever really the Pope? It's unbelievable. So anyway, that's going up. And sometimes, oh my God, when you're uploading YouTube, it takes forever. Sometimes it's fast. Sometimes it's slow. But I cannot have something that's not perfect. And it doesn't really matter. So anyway, that is coming up. Get ready. And if you're not subscribed to this, Eric, as you know, has been a friend of, not a friend, he's been a member of the family forever. And I'm telling you right now, it is that good. It blew me away. I'm not one to even, I don't even know how to say this. It is just unbelievable. Okay. So that is going up the moment it is ready. So it is just anyway. So that's that. I also have one coming up, which also, I don't know where this one came from. It's on red light therapy. Wait until you hear this one. Unbelievable. Today has been an unbelievable day for more reasons than you would even care to know. Unbelievable is the word. That's all I'm going to say. Unbelievable. Also, I found out this eve I'm going to be yet again from 10 to midnight on WABC. They've got some scheduling there, so I'll be there. Jump in a car and I'm there. So we're going to be talking about that, and I'm going to give you a precursor as to what's going on. A couple of big stories. One, I hope you watched the critical story that we talked about this morning involving the Supreme Court and the oral arguments as to the Mahmoud case in Maryland regarding whether a parent can opt out of a child's LGBTQ, which is the most critical. But also Sarah Palin, two stories. The head of CBS, the CBS 60 Minutes producer, whatever, he left. Basically, you know what they did. They shit-canned him, or he was on his way out. And now he's trying to make it sound like, well, I'm going to quit because I don't have my independence. Oh, come on, stop it. Nobody quits because you don't have independence. You make a ton of money. Trump is suing CBS for all kinds of stuff, which I really don't understand. But listen, if you can bring him down, that's fine. And Sherry Redstone says, look, I want to sell this place because I get $1.75 billion out of the sale, and I don't need this crap. So that's going on. But Sarah Palin lost her defamation case. You know why? Anybody? Anybody know why? I'm going to ask some questions. Anybody understand this? Anybody understand it? Anybody got it? Anybody understand this? Anybody paying attention? Bill, you're a funny man. Anything you understand what happened? Did you hear about the Sarah Palin case today? Anybody? Did Trump 45? Did you? Anybody hear about this? You didn't hear about her case today, her defamation case? You didn't hear about it? Did you? Anybody? What's her story? What a group we've got tonight, huh? Nobody heard this. Nobody heard. This was the libel case. Remember the first one, the first defamation case that ended where the judge basically directed a verdict as the jury was deciding or deliberating. They said, listen, I know there's not going to be any malice, so you go ahead. And they got their phones and said, he already ruled. It's like, what the hell are we doing? Remember that one? Is Sarah Palin still around? We got a group here. Oh. Didn't hear, look at this, didn't hear, don't watch TV. TV? Do you have a phone? You're watching, obviously, on this thing called the computer. It was in all the papers, so to speak. You don't watch TV. What's going on here? What's going on? She hasn't been active in the political arena. That's not the point. That's not. Did you hear the notion of defamation? This is one of the biggest cases around here. This is what is this? Do you have is this like the short bus group today? I mean, I'm serious. It starts off with hi. We get the highs out of the way, and then nobody knows anything. I don't watch TV. Okay. All righty. Did you hear about Christy Nome? They stole her money. Oh, that's good. That was a good one. Why that's even remote? I mean, it's interesting for like a minute. Did you hear about this? YouTube says, I'm fairly hip and I didn't hear a thing. Okay. Well, I don't know about that, how hip you are, but that's okay. Well, here is a story. This is a case involving this poor Sarah Palin, who I think she was as dumb as rocks. And some people loved her. I just never understood her. That's why the first time I voted for Obama, because it was her and John McCain. And I didn't think about writing my name in. I thought, well, Obama's kind of new. I was like, well, they do a good job. Because I thought she was as dumb as rocks. But later on, it turns out she wasn't as bad as she thought. We found that there were other people who were not only more dumb, but more dangerous. So Sarah Palin was denied justice as a reckless media gets another free pass. That's what happened. That's what happened. That's what happened. Look at this. Meredith says, I'm more interested in saving our country from fascism. Thank you, Meredith. Meredith always knows how to pick up the excitement. Meredith wants to prevent the country from fascism. And how do you plan on doing that? First of all, Marilyn, can you define fascism? Can you? Oh, no. Great Rogan today with Jordan Peterson? Oh, no. Dear God. That's one show I'm not going to watch. What is it, slow? Is Joe slowing down? Jordan Peterson. Dear God. 3AA says, the world is better off without Palin as a politician. She needs to be baking cookies. That it. Okay. That has nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with it whatsoever. This is in any event, I'm going to pretend somewhere somebody's saying, no, tell me about this. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about this. Well, in what was a stunning, yet I think kind of unsurprising decision, a federal jury in Manhattan ruled 9-zip. Now, once again, they ruled in favor of the New York Times, declaring, you might want to know about this, that the radical left's favorite newspaper did not defame former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. Look at this. Charlie Calais says, what happened to your video with Eric Walters? It vanished when I was watching. First thing I said, Charlie. First thing I said right at the back. Thank you, buddy. First thing I said you've got to watch this show. I said, I'm editing and I had to re-upload it. First thing I said right out of the box. That's what I said. But thank you. I appreciate it, my friend. It's coming up. First thing I said. I didn't even say hello. And it's the first thing I said. In any event, I'm going to keep going. Bless your heart. I'm going to try my best. So former Governor Sarah Palin, they ruled against her, despite the fact that the New York Times, you may have heard this. They published a provably false editorial in 2017 that linked her PAC to a mass shooting. Remember that? Remember the shooting was what is her name? Gabby Giffords or whatever. They showed the targets, the bullseyes, and I don't even know why that was defamatory, but she claimed. But anyway, they basically said, well, we think she's linked somehow to these shootings and the like. So the editorial, which was published without facts or journalistic integrity, apparently claimed that Sarah Palin's political rhetoric incited the 2011 attack on Congresswoman Gabby Giffords. That Sarah Palin did this. Remember, because they said we're going to target certain districts and they had bullseyes. So anyway, the claim was found and thought to be so baseless that the Times itself was forced to issue a correction within hours. Within hours. Now, right off the bat, they said, oh, okay, we made a mistake. But under what many people view to be this absurd and outdated actual malice standard, born from the New York Times against Sullivan in 1964, this was the case. Sarah Palin had to prove not only that the Times what was wrong, but that they knew they were lying, or they had reckless disregard for the truth, or they didn't care. It wasn't enough for them to just lie. She had to prove that they knew they were lying. That's the malice part. And it's nearly impossible, and the media know it. They know it. So after a retrial was ordered due to judicial, to call it anything but misconduct in the first trial, where a judge preemptively dismissed Palin's case. It's almost like the case of Alex Jones, where they ruled that he had defaulted, where he was basically guilty of everything before anything happened. He had defaulted. In any event, where they preemptively dismissed Sarah Palin's case before the jury even finished deliberating. I mean, they got a message on their phone. You might as well stop. The judge ruled. It's like, what? The result was the same. Legacy media walks free. And another conservative gets smeared and gets blasphemed and gets tarred and gets libeled and defamed without consequence. And this ruling basically effectively gives every newsroom, every news person, or everybody who claims to be a news person, every quote journalist, everyone in America, a blank check, carte blanche to defame public figures because they cannot prove malice, where they showed malice, deliberate lying, intentional lying, or a reckless disregard for the truth, and especially regarding conservatives. So with reckless abandon. So anyway, it's a green light for hit pieces and character assassinations, and that's the point. That's the point. And it sounds terrific, the idea of New York Times against Sullivan. Well, you know, when you're in a position, when you're a public figure, you have the chance to rebut what's going on, and you hold yourself out. You sometimes invite controversy. So how can you later on decide that somebody can't say something? It's nonsense. This is the most, so long as they slap some half-hearted page 12 correction on it later on. Now, Justice Clarence Thomas, who absolutely, he and Alito have been just vanguards of truth, he rightly criticized this ridiculous legal standard, calling it for a much-needed return to constitutional sanity. Until then, he figures that people like Sarah Palin are going to keep getting slandered, slapped left and right, because they know there's no way they can prove malice. And the press hides behind it. They hide behind a First Amendment shield that they've weaponized for decades. And this wasn't just a verdict. It was a warning. Speak truth to power, and the media mob will come for you, and they'll get away with it. That's the thing which is the most important. And another thing which is important, how was this kind of his counterintuitive, but how is anybody really slandered today? I mean, how is somebody slandered? Let me tell you what would be a real slander. Let's say there's a little mom and pop chicken place, and somebody claims that there was a dead mouse or something in the batter of some fried chicken, and it was a lie. It was a lie. And they say this, and sometimes you see this on Yelp, and not Yelp per se, but some of these things. But anyway, but words to that effect. And let's say it affects your business. And you have to shut down, you have to close, you have to lay off people because somebody lied. That's the libel and slander I'm thinking about. But what is somebody going to say, seriously, about Sarah Palin that is so off the charts that it really affects her so much so that it becomes defamatory as opposed to just being bullshit or wrong or whatever it was. So not only do we have, in some respects, libel laws and defamation laws, which are being used too much, but we also have them used, especially in some particular cases where they can't be implemented and they can't actually effectively be used accordingly. So that was a huge case. Plus, the head, I think Leslie Stahl, who's 83, might be stepping down from 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is over with. I was watching the old days of Don Hewitt, Mike Wallace, and Morley Safer, and it was really something. Sunday nights, the sound. By the way, the only show that had a non-musical theme. It was just the ticking of the stopwatch, which, by the way, came at the end. The first time they ran it, it was at the end. And Don Hewitt, the genius producer, said, wait a minute, that's kind of neat. Let's have that as our head. But now it's ridiculous. It's over with. It's absolute. We are so inundated with so much stuff from everybody. The question is, do we really need, and this is important, do we really need this? And more importantly, can people really be blasphemed and libeled? Now, the good news with everything is that everything that we know as conventional news is just over. It's absolutely over. There was something today. There was a story. I don't know if you saw this. Oh my God. Did you see what they're talking about, that 9/11 day? Did you see this? Did you see how this Benny Johnson feller all of a sudden has discovered 9/11, and he's having certain senators on who are pointing to what we've known for the longest time? Oh, this is big. This is huge. Seriously huge. I'm seeing something which I think is maybe we're returning to the old days. And also we're noticing something. Mrs. L said it today. I think she's right. I think we're seeing something in the world of ChatGPT where it's pretty good at first, kind of like the Wild West, where it's great and it's terrific and it's wonderful. And what it does is it's showing you all of this wonderful, glorious, open, kind of like this open-ended honesty, anything you want to talk about. But now I think little by little they're saying no, especially if you want to see some of the graphics that are being done. If you haven't used ChatGPT or Grok, you are missing on something that cannot be even put into words. It is so good and so great. It cannot be put into words as to how great it is. Seriously, honest to God, it cannot be put into words. It is that great, that tremendous, that unbelievable. Okay? So that's that. So today we're talking about that. The read up on Sarah Palin, find out why she lost, which is very interesting, because this is the New York Times to get away with murder. And also find out, I hope we learn more, do some research on Clarence Thomas's rebuke, his dissent and the like, and also why this feller from 60 Minutes decides he's going to quit, which is ridiculous. Nobody's really going to quit. Also coming up, we've got it's right now at, let me see where I'm at. I had this thing go, Charlie noticed it, or Charlie as I call him. Charlie noticed that is right now is at like 8%. It's the most ridiculous. It is so slow, but the red light thing is almost done. It's like, I don't understand it. Mrs. L has something. It's now at 70%. She's been up for hours. We're trying to upload just a regular video, And it has nothing to do with our speed or Wi-Fi speed. It's the processing speed of YouTube. It's unbelievable. So that's coming up. Make sure you remain subscribed to Lionel Nation so you know exactly when that comes up. And also make sure that you follow Mrs. L as well. Anyway, my friends, that's it. You have a great and glorious night. Charlie, thank you for being our sole benefactor this eve. We'll talk to you tomorrow. And don't forget, until then, my friends, as we always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Tat, tat.